Hello everyone, in this video I'll be letting you guys know a full update on the Atlantic tropics as it's awakening, look at the nation's indices, alerts, and severe weather. So let's get right into it. So starting out with our alerts and indices, so we recently had a pattern shift. So we used to have lots of nice, deep, cool, pleasant, basically fall air in the eastern two-thirds of the US. That has switched, okay? We're having much nicer and cooler conditions in the west, while a ridge takes over. Um, while a ridge takes over in the east, okay, and that's very important. So that's what's prompting all these excessive heat warnings, heat advisories, and since we have a pattern something like that, we also have severe weather along that boundary because of the colliding heat and cooler air. So severe weather, a late night threat over here. So please be careful. We'll take a look at that in a bit. But those are nation's alerts. Hawaii, as you see down here, is about to leave a tropical storm warning as tropical storm Hone heads out. But those are all your warnings and indices for today. Starting out with the severe weather. So here's our little nocturnal threat. Tornado threat is there, 5%. So spin-ups are definitely likely. Wind is a really big threat as well as hail. So wind, damaging wind, and very large hail is almost likely. And then tornadoes are also very possible. We also have a little marginal and slight risk over here in the east, mainly just wind and hail being the main threats. Going on to our day 2 outlook, we have a slight risk for the Midwestern states. This is mainly comprised of a small tornado threat, so brief spin-ups, as well as wind and hail, so kind of reflects today's threat. And then lastly, day 3, we have two areas of slights. One that kind of goes from the areas of the Midwest into the Mid-Atlantic and southern New England areas, and a slight risk in the Dakotas. The slight risk will probably mainly be wind and hail as well, with maybe a small tornado threat, and then the Dakotas will also likely have wind and hail. Tornado threat, we'll see. So those are your day 3, first 3 days. Taking a look from day 4 through 8. I mean, don't have any at all. So there's that severe look. Now getting into the tropics, let's start out with the Central Pacific, okay, the most active zone right now. So we had tropical storm Hone, or was a hurricane Hone, as it passed just south of the Big Island of Hawaii and caused major impacts. It is now weakening and heading out to west, so it's starting to weaken. Gilma, however, is a hurricane, and Hector is a tropical storm that follows closely behind. So let's actually take a look at the tracks for Gilma and Hector. Will they come close to Hawaii? Now, Gilma actually has had some changes, okay? Gilma has stayed strong throughout and has re-strengthened, weakened, re-strengthened. It's going to be a hurricane until around tomorrow morning, okay? And then we'll weaken into a storm by Thursday morning and just cause some light depression impacts for the northern islands of Hawaii. So that's Gilma. Hector, however, has kind of just formed. Hector is going to become a storm, head north a little before heading west and eventually kind of west-southwest. So it will actually miss the islands unless we have some big adjustments. Maybe some coastal threats, but no real direct threats. So the island should be in the clear for now, just at most prepare for depression-like conditions. Going on to the Atlantic, no tropical cyclone activity in the next 7 days. However, that's going to change. Here are the ensembles for the European model, and social media is starting to pick up on it. We see that we have a good signal for at least a tropical storm hurricane, some even major hurricane, such as 950. But don't pay too much about the strength. Just worry that we have a signal, okay, and it does point towards the land being affected. So it's something we're gonna have to watch out for. And then also another signal behind that, and yet another stronger signal behind that. So we have multiple signals, 1, 2, and 3 that really are starting to show up, and that just tells us that, hey, we're about to get ramped up again. So please keep an eye out. Honestly, if I were gonna circle a zone that had has to keep their eyes out, it's very wide. It's a very wide zone. But if you're here, even down here low, if you're anywhere here, bro, Sorry, bro. But if you're anywhere here, please, please keep an eye out because, I mean, these storms could really go anywhere. They could head north, and even Bermuda could get affected again, such as Hurricane Ernesto. You could also have some that kind of stay a little more south, affect Trinidad and Tobago, northern islands of South America, and the U.S. and the Gulf Coast of the U.S. So please, in Mexico as well, and areas of Honduras, Nicaragua, the Yucatan, Guatemala, etc. So please, just please be careful as we're going to have land impacts and we're going to have a continuous hurricane season as we near peak season. Last thing I want to talk about is Typhoon Shanshan. This is a major typhoon. It's about to be really, it's strengthening. And it has an eye, so you can kind of tell that it's basically a major typhoon. It's actually had some track adjustments. Originally, it was going to just slam right into Japan, but actually kind of curved. Now it's still expected to curve back into Japan, and sadly, it's still going to be affecting Japan. I think people really need to take notice if you're there. I'm actually surprised not as many people are talking about it. On IR, looks very healthy. It's actually affecting some chain of islands right now of Japan. Um, Deep convection is firing up right around the center. We'll see. Well, let's see if we get an eye wall replacement. It's not that big of a storm, I'll tell you that, but it does look pretty feisty for what size it is, and some nice outflow getting out, almost looking like a small little buzzsaw type typhoon. And then let's just do the major thing, which is kind of like track. As you can see, right here is our track. It strengthens greatly, peaking at 105 knots before landfalling as around 100 knot, 90 knot, weakening into 80 knots as it gets on coast. So it's just still a very, very solid typhoon, and if not major typhoon conditions. So please, please be careful. And it is a long tracker, continues to bring tropical storm at least force conditions into areas of Japan, such as I'll try my best to pronounce these names: Sasebo, Hokini, Kyoto, Tokyo, Yokosuka, and Misawa over up here in north, and even areas of maybe Sapporo. But honestly, just please keep an eye out if you're in Japan, and these islands are getting affected right now, as it's only going to strengthen and then weaken as it gets towards landfall, but still will have major impacts. So, I hope you enjoyed that video. Try to keep it power packed with tropics. Big, big times ahead, and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.